Okay, I think immigration is a push and pull factor. There's gonna be factors that draw people towards a country, but also like push people out, like jobs and family reasons. But I think it's demoralised in the media and it's looked down upon and it's quite a biased topic.
I think immigration also means for me like xenophobia because when we think of the word immigrants, people usually think of busloads and truckloads of people coming over here, and they think of illegal immigration as well. But most immigration is legal as well, and immigrants do help our country. I mean, we have a lot of doctors now that are second and third generation descendants of immigration from Asia, particularly India and Pakistan. So, we have to have a real kind of debate with facts and not just bigoted opinions.
Well, there is a lot of propaganda surrounding immigration. Like in the media, it's always portrayed as in a negative light. Immigrations come over and take this must say of our benefit system, and it's not always that way. Nobody goes and actually researches the figures. They just swallow the information that's portrayed to them, especially the older generation.
I think immigration itself is badly publicised a lot in the media purely because of the fact that many people are forming the view that it's become like a burden in Britain itself, but they don't realise the fact that immigration itself makes Britain what it is today, which is a diverse culture where everyone is appreciated and accepted for whom they are.
Yeah, they do seem to portray it as a sort of epidemic of the modern day society, but they refuse to accept it creates a diverse culture for the British people that they wouldn't actually experience without having to travel abroad. But with immigration is that it's always portrayed negatively, but it's either due to the fact it's either government spending on benefits for immigrants who apparently immediately get it the second they come over here, or it's polluting the local populace.
We have to remember that we do also immigrate as well. Thing is, we do have a problem with an aging population, so we do need some new young people coming in as well. But there is an extent, and we have to get the balance right. But we have to be careful not to turn it into an argument about so and so from such country and so and so from such ethnicity, and they're bad people, this and that. I mean, people come in different shapes and sizes and different ideologies as well.
Yeah, I agree there's a balance, and I consider myself as, when I've finished my degree, I would like to leave England for better opportunities and a better climate. So we always have to keep in mind that as much as people are coming in, those are gonna leave. So it's not a negative thing, but we need to just keep the balance and see it as a system of trying to rejuvenate their society and kind of keep it sustainable in a way. So there's a limit to the extent.
I think as well as lots of immigrants coming into the country itself, it's estimated that approximately 1 million people leave the country each year as well, and that's purely because of the fact that young people feel there's not enough job opportunities for them here, so they actually feel pushed out of their own country. So in that perspective, immigration is a bad thing, but Britain kind of needs to look into the topic more and see where the issues are occurring. So in order to solve the situation, they could spread the amount of immigrants across Europe, not just have everyone loaded into Britain itself.
Well, I think immigration is a hidden topic. As youth and students, we're desensitized from it. We don't have enough knowledge about it unless you go out there and research it. But I think we just need to be more educated in the people that are coming to the UK and not build up such a label for them and discriminate against them, because you have to remember they're over here to better themselves and they want a better future for their family and their children. So it's a win-win situation, but it becomes a negative when we are not put in touch with the news and understand why they're here in a way, instead of just outcasting them and looking down upon them. Yeah.
I think if young people themselves are more educated in the topic of immigration itself, then maybe they would actually know the negatives and the positives with it. But as a fact with jobs, education and stuff, I don't think that's all to be blamed just because of immigrants. It should be blamed because of the government. The government are not making the right decisions for the young people's future. They're taking away student fees, they're increasing university fees, making it harder for people to get into universities, and it's just they're making it mission impossible for them. And with immigrants, they're fleeing from their country for persecution or war. They want a better life. They clearly need help, and we're there to offer them that help. So people should appreciate that.
But with immigration, is the fact that the media always portray it as a bad thing. With like some exceptions being like the Syria, like the refugees coming over. But even then, give it 3 weeks, they'll soon be demanding that they be sent back over the fact that they're either taking jobs, benefits, or like NHS. So with like the entire, it should be educated, and like we're desensitised to it in the news. We are, but it's not so much we're desensitised to it as we're just like force fed all the bad sides to it that don't really exist as these like newspapers and like tabloids actually portray.
Yeah, I think also the issue when they said that millions and millions of Romanians and Bulgarians be coming as soon as the controls were lifted didn't happen, and now that issue's kind of swept under the carpet. No one wants to talk about how wrong the media and the politicians were, in particular UKIP as well. Immigration as well, it's interesting as well because immigration reflects how internally as a society we do have problems looking upon other races of people. For example, I was quite offended with the whole campaign of Go Home vans, and that really brought back for me it kind of reminded me of how the National Front used to use a very similar slogan as well, and how these vans were going around predominantly Asian, Pakistani, Muslim, and also Indian neighborhoods. And it's not, as a society we've got rampant xenophobia, and we're ignoring that as well, because it's not that we're just against immigrants from other countries, we're also against what we think are immigrants in our own country. I mean, people think that if you're a certain race or a certain religion, you're not British. Or I think Gallup did a survey, I think about a year ago, where they said that about 80% of Muslims, when you ask them, classify themselves as British, which is a higher proportion compared to other groups.
I think it's a propaganda in the media and like newspapers and that, where it is portrayed as a negative thing. It's, you know, they're coming over here taking our jobs, there's no jobs left for us, blah blah blah. But it needs to be portrayed more in a positive light, like other positive things that immigration can bring. Like there's jobs that working class people don't want to do, like cleaning and stuff like that, that people don't want, that they're doing for like less money, like washing cars and that British people don't want. So it is quite positive. I think certain places that you go to will be, because they've been brought up where they are in a predominantly white area, so they haven't come into contact with immigrants or different races or anything, whereas like here you do, it's the norm, you're brought up with different races and that, and you accept it more.
Yeah, I agree. I think being from like an ethnic background, being mixed, I like to go to different places and feel comfortable, like not necessarily feel wanted, but just feel reassured that there's other races around me, so I can feel included and not like kind of the attraction, if that makes sense, like people look, oh my god, like she's not white or something like that. I think it's important that we are a multicultural society, because everyone needs to feel needed and like reassured that they're safe, really. Yeah.
I don't think the UK as a whole is racist. It's more like it's like any other country. There are always split groups that will always go out of their way to like share their beliefs, whether they be racist or not. But it's kind of more acceptable here in some aspects, because there's like groups that in the parliament and like even the government as a whole that actually support these theories, and then they go out their way to kind of get like fearmonger like the population through tabloid use to actually kind of help like raise another generation of little racists.
Yeah, I think as a country, I agree we're not racist, but we do have a major problem with racism as well. We have like the EDL as well, we have Tommy Robinson, but we also have people that are really black sheeps of their communities. I think as a whole, we're not a racist country at the end of the day, but we do have a major problem even in Parliament. I mean, the Tory party in particular, with their right, has a major problem with racism and certain comments they can make. But we need to really, I think the problem is education. Our education system doesn't reflect the changes that we've gone through as a society in the last few years. I think in school we need to learn more about other cultures and what they really teach rather than what the media would like us to believe that they teach.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's more about education, and we need to get rid of the label and the stereotyping, so we can just break down that idea that there's problems when really it's just about knowledge and being equipped and understanding that there's different people that make one British society.
I think Parliament's got a lot to answer for though, because it's unrepresentative. You don't find a lot of ethnics in the parties, you don't find a lot of women. It's really an unrepresentative democracy really. So you're going to have ethnic minorities that aren't listened to because they're not understood.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the problem is that our politicians aren't taking racism seriously, and it's just that the same old mantra as well. We need to really change our education system to reflect how diverse we really are, because if we keep an education system that's rooted in old 3Rs, then we're not going to really have a good time about it. I mean, especially Michael Gove, I think he needs to go back to school, personally.
More